Picture this. It's September 2025. We're at the massive All Things Go festival in New York City. The crowd is just electric. On stage is a 24-year-old rising pop star, and she is right in the middle of conquering the world, you know?
Yeah, she's riding the high of a global multi-platinum #1 viral hit.
Exactly. She is 5 songs deep into her set. The band kicks into her track, conceded, the energy is peaking, and then she suddenly collapses. Right there on stage, her body and her mind completely giving out at the exact moment she's supposed to be taking her victory lap. Welcome to another episode of People Apart.
It is a genuinely terrifying image to visualize, honestly. The music stops, the crowd goes silent, you have this jarring, violent halt of momentum for an artist who seemed, well, entirely unstoppable just seconds prior.
And the artist we're talking about today is Lola Young. She's this absolute powerhouse singer-songwriter from South London. Now, if you're listening to this, there's a very good chance you know her massive viral track, Messy, or maybe you saw her take home a Grammy for Best Pop Solo Performance in 2026. But what you probably don't know is the incredibly intense, turbulent story running underneath that music.
Which is exactly why we're doing this deep dive today. Lola Young's story isn't just a standard music biography where someone works hard and makes it big. It's a real-time examination of the staggering human cost of modern viral fame.
Yeah, it really is.
We are looking at an artist who had to navigate severe mental health diagnoses, a very public and grueling struggle with addiction, and the relentless pressure of the industry, all while refusing, point blank, to put up a polished PR-friendly facade.
Right, because Lola didn't grow up in some shiny pop star bubble. She was a South London kid, born in Croydon in 2001 and raised in Beckenham. And you have to understand the environment she came from because it essentially hardwired her to be hyper-observant.
She grew up in this deeply empathetic, culturally rich home. Her father is Jamaican Chinese, her mother is English.
And her stepfather was a bass player, so music is just like oxygen in the house. Plus, we have to mention this wild piece of family trivia. Her great-aunt is Julia Donaldson.
The author of The Gruffalo.
Yes. So the literal mechanics of storytelling, of building narratives, they're just in her blood. But what stands out to me even more than the musical or literary connections is her mother's job.
Oh, absolutely.
Our mom worked for the mental health charity Mind. So from day one, Lola is surrounded by open conversations about the human brain and emotional struggles.
That detail right there is the skeleton key to understanding how she survives the later years of her career. Having a parent entrenched in mental health advocacy means Lola was given the vocabulary to understand psychological distress from a very early age.
Right.
She was a prodigy, too, writing songs by age 11, gigging at open mic nights by 14. That drive lands her at the famous Brit School, which is essentially the UK's premier performing arts greenhouse.
And Lola described the Brit School as a vital hub where she could finally just be herself. But she didn't just stay in the classroom. At age 17, she's performing at a pub in Balham. And sitting in the audience is Nick Shymansky.
Amy Winehouse's former manager.
Exactly. And Nick Huggett, an A&R executive who famously signed Adele. They see her, they are completely blown away, and they end up co-managing her.
The machinery kicks in instantly. I mean, these are heavy hitters. An A&R executive's literal job, artists and repertoire, is to scout raw talent and shape it to be commercially viable for a major label. They are star makers.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. Getting discovered by Amy Winehouse's former manager and Adele's A&R guy is a dream. But does that set an unfair expectation right out of the gate? Like, is she being set up as the next Amy before she even knows who Lola is?
Oh, for sure.
It just feels like getting dropped into a high-pressure greenhouse that rapidly forces a unique talent to bloom, ready or not.
That is the fundamental friction of her early career. You have this immense, rapid professional acceleration colliding with a very heavy personal reality. Because right around this exact same time, at just 17 years old, Lola was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder.
Which is an incredibly heavy diagnosis for anyone, let alone a teenager trying to navigate meetings with record executives.
It is, and to understand the weight of that, we have to look at what schizoaffective disorder actually entails. It's a complex, chronic mental health condition.
Right.
It essentially combines the lived experience of schizophrenia, things like severe hallucinations or delusions, with the intense, exhausting mood swings of a mood disorder, like mania and deep depression. You're fighting battles on 2 neurological fronts simultaneously.
Wow, that is a lot to carry.
It's massive. But going back to her mother working for the charity Mind, Lola didn't have to hide in the dark about what was happening to her brain. She had the framework to name her demon early on.
Even with that vocabulary, though, the collision of this raw, vulnerable talent with those psychological burdens meant her rise was not some overnight TikTok fairy tale. It was a serious grind, and it was constantly interrupted by physical setbacks, wasn't it?
Yes. The physical instrument itself starts to break down. She puts out her debut single, 6 Feet Under, in late 2019. But the promotion gets completely derailed because she develops a cyst on her vocal cords and has to undergo surgery.
And for a singer, a vocal cyst isn't just a minor inconvenience. It's a structural threat to your career. It literally changes the way your vocal cords vibrate together.
Exactly.
And when she gets back out there, the industry decides to push her down the most traditional, sanitized path possible. In 2021, she scores the John Lewis Christmas advert. She covers Together in Electric Dreams.
And for our global listeners, the John Lewis Christmas ad is the emotional Smipper Bowl of UK marketing. It is wholesome, tear-jerking, and culturally massive.
Off the back of that, she gets nominated for the Brit Award for Rising Star.
The machine is doing what the machine does. It is positioning her as a palatable, mainstream pop balladeer.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The traditional industry playbook completely fails her. She gets the most mainstream, wholesome gig possible with the UK Christmas ad, but her debut album completely misses the charts in 2023.
Right, the album titled My Mind Wanders and Sometimes Leaves Completely, which is a brilliant direct reference to her schizoaffective disorder, but yeah, it fails to chart entirely.
It's like the industry didn't know what to do with her raspy, unfiltered reality yet, because they treated her like a classical sculpture. They were trying to chisel away her rough edges to make something smooth and marketable for holiday commercials.
But Lola is more like abstract expressionism. Her art only works when you throw the paint at the canvas and leave the mess.
Yeah.
Plus, those vocal cysts had returned, giving her voice this noticeably raspier, harder quality on the record. We have to ask why an artist with the best management and undeniable talent releases a debut record that makes zero commercial impact.
So she realizes the polished pop path is a dead end. To survive, she completely fractures her writing style. She stops trying to sound like a traditional pop star.
She starts looking at deeply personal, atmospheric albums for inspiration, like SEA's Shrettrel, Arctic Monkeys AM, and Frank Ocean.
And she starts writing her lyrics as if they were unhinged voice notes. She's leaving for a friend, setting the stage for a breakthrough that relies entirely on an almost uncomfortable level of authenticity.
And that unfiltered conversational writing style finally catches fire in 2024. It perfectly aligns with a chaotic, cultural moment. She releases the album This Wasn't Meant for You Anyway, which is largely about substandard ex-boyfriends.
And the lead single from that, Messy, just explodes on TikTok.
It becomes an absolute phenomenon. It tops the UK's singles chart for 4 weeks. It hits the US Billboard Hot 100, tops charts across Australia, Ireland, and Belgium. It goes multi-platinum globally.
It's just wild.
Right. And it lands her on the Forbes 30 Under 30 list, wins an Ivor Novello Rising Star Award, and ultimately a 2026 Grammy.
There is an incredible irony here, though. A song celebrating absolute chaos and messiness is what brings her peak professional structure and success.
Well, what's fascinating here is how it connects to another major diagnosis. Lola was officially diagnosed with ADHD after she wrote Messy.
Oh, wow. After the fact.
Yes. She later called the track an ADHD anthem. And if we look at the mechanics of the song and how it interacted with culture, it explains the virality perfectly. The song doesn't just talk about being messy.
The lyrical pacing and the production actually mimic the experience of neurodivergent overwhelm.
Right, exactly. The racing thoughts, the impulsive behavior, the feeling of the brain moving faster than the mouth, she tapped into a universal feeling.
And the algorithm specifically rewards this. TikTok doesn't want a $1 million, highly polished music video.
Right.
It favors a raw, shaky cam, hyper-authentic confession. Listeners didn't just hear a pop hook. They heard their own internal chaos reflected back at them.
But here's the dangerous catch. While Messy is dominating the world and she's collaborating with Tyler, the creator, and touring with Billie Eilish, Lola's personal life is redlining.
If you're listening to this and thinking, oh, plenty of pop stars have a wild phase, you have to realize this wasn't a curated PR stunt. In late 2024, right as this massive wave of success is cresting, she spends 5 weeks in rehab for a severe cocaine addiction.
And the toll of the climb didn't stop there. Her 2025 live performances were plagued by heartbreaking complications. In April, she played Coachella, which is a huge deal, but she had to run offstage retching.
Then in June, at the Summertime Ball, her in-ear monitors fail mid-performance. And we should explain why that's so devastating.
Yeah, please do.
When you are on a massive stadium stage, the sound of the band and the crowd is bouncing everywhere. If your in-ear monitors fail, you hear an echoing delay. You can't hear your own pitch. You lose complete spatial and vocal awareness.
It induces instant panic.
Exactly. But when you combine that terrifying sensory failure with a recovering addict who already battles schizoaffective disorder, it is a recipe for a total breakdown. She's reduced to tears on stage.
And the pressure doesn't stop. In July, she relapses. It forces her to cancel a highly anticipated appearance on The Tonight Show, and her team brings in a sober coach.
It's just so heavy.
All of this is building pressure upon pressure until it culminates in that September 2025 collapse at All Things Go in New York, leading to a complete halt of her public life.
It really pushes back against the music industry's romanticization of the tortured artist trope. It's like watching a high-performance engine redline until it blows. We, as the audience, are dancing to a song about her struggles while she's literally breaking down in front of us.
It forces a complete halt, and we have to emphasize the nuance of this period, because while early reports blamed exhaustion, which is, the classic PR spin.
The ultimate industry euphemism to protect the brand?
Precisely. But Lola herself later clarified to Rolling Stone in 2026 that she spent 2 months in a residential facility and attended Alcoholics Anonymous. She took radical accountability for her health.
I am just floored by that level of honesty. She wasn't going to let anyone pretend it was just dehydration. And because she took that radical ownership, the collapse wasn't a tragic end. It was a necessary hard reset.
She reemerged in early 2026, winning a Brit Award for Breakthrough Artist. She came back armed with a profound, almost aggressive level of self-acceptance.
Yeah, she releases the album I'm Only Frecking Myself, which debuted at #3 in the UK. And it's an unapologetic deep dive into sex, drugs, and poor mental health.
She also embraced her bisexuality publicly. And it started with a casual TikTok comment responding to a CMAT video. A fan commented, and Lola just replied, "I like pie as well." Just completely casual.
So casual, and then it evolved into the opening track of her new album.
She also shared this memorable detail, revealing she returned to dating women after a sex session with a man was ruined because his wife called him to ask for nappies.
Diapers. I mean, so what does this all mean? It is just such a hilariously stark reality check. Despite everything, she hasn't lost her incredibly grounded sense of humor.
Not at all. And she showed her activist side, joining calls for Keir Starmer to block the Rosebank oil drilling.
Which, regardless of anyone's stance on the politics of oil drilling, it shows she was using her platform to engage with the wider world. We're not taking a stance on the politics here, but it's clear evidence of her looking outward.
Right. And she fiercely protected her work, filing and later dropping a lawsuit against messy producer Carter Lang over writing credits. She has fully integrated her shadows, her addiction, her schizoaffective disorder, her queer identity. She doesn't hide the messy parts anymore. She weaponizes them for her survival.
She really does. Bringing it full circle back to the image of her collapsing on stage, Lola Young isn't just a pop star who made a viral hit. She is a survivor of her own mind and the ruthless machinery of the music industry.
Her story challenges you, the listener, to really think about the human cost behind the music you stream. When an artist gives us their raw, painful truth, we owe it to them to listen not just to the catchy hook, but to the reality of the person singing it.
It leaves you with this provocative thought. Are we incentivizing artists to stay in their darkest places just so we can get a catchy hook? The next time you hear messy, remember the life that forged it.
Thanks for listening to Paper Lum Pod. Keep tuning in for more stories worth knowing.